So you've downloaded this budget calculator and you're wondering how in the heck do I actually use the thing? All right. So first off, up top, we've got our monthly income. I like to start budgeting every month with how much money do I expect to come in. So what we've got here is a two-family household. We'll say that person one has a base pay of $5,000 a month. You'll find that as anything that you need to be filling in is highlighted in yellow until you do each month. Let's say that you also expect to get a $500 bonus. Reimbursements, I've got in here for things like if you get mileage, if you got people paying you back on Venmo, credit card points, anything like that that you expect to cash in every month. Let's just say that you bought lunch for a buddy and they paid you back $100. Other is anything else. Now, one thing that I do have up here that's not really income, but for my own psychological reasons, I've got giving up here. So my family gives away 10% to our church every month. And I want to make sure that that's accounted for before I start spending the money in my budget. So on the giving front, it's actually going to subtract whatever you put here from the total income to get your net income. Same's going to apply over here. Let's go ahead and put in $15 for other, and then we'll put in here $600 for giving. You see there, it dropped it down to 54.15. All right, so the other side's going to work exactly the same way. Let's just say it's 4,500, 1,200, no reimbursements, no other, and $570 in giving. There we go. See how easy that is? So that leaves you with a total household income. This is all take home. Remember, the numbers that we're basing this all on are what's hitting your bank account. So if you're saving in your 401k and it's happening before it hits your account, or if health insurance is happening before it hits your account, let that happen. And we're only budgeting on the money that actually hits your account based on this. All right, so down below here, I've got some suggested monthly expenses. Obviously, your monthly expenses are going to vary according to who you are and what you got going on. List out all of them here. If you need to add to the debts column, then all you have to do is right click and then you can add, insert a row above or below or whatever. Same thing on credit cards down here. I do have your credit cards and debts separate. The reason for that is credit cards are obviously revolving accounts. Credit cards are typically going to be the highest interest rate accounts, and those are the ones that I worked on attacking first. With that being the case, let's just pretend, most mortgages and rent is due on the first. Minimum payment 1,500. Um, this right here is an important thing to know. Like, go through as you set this up, go look and see what your balance is. If it's rent, then obviously there's not a balance. But if it's a mortgage, then let's just say that you got $150,000 that you owe on the mortgage. Um, then your actual paid is after the first happens. Come back, plug in. I paid $1,500 on my mortgage. If you pay exactly the same amount, you'll see that it stays in black here. All right, now let's say that one of your cards is due on the 15th. Your minimum payment $300, and you are going to pay 200, or you're going to pay $400 on it. In this case, it's saying that it's over budget, but you'd be overpaying for the car. So it's not the end of the world if you're working on like a debt snowball or a debt avalanche. But keep that in mind whenever you're doing it. Um, the balance after payment here is going to be, let's say that you started out the month with 30,000 for your balance, and then it went down to 29,000 and something after your payment. Then just after you make your payment each month, update your balance here. That way you can keep up with how much debt total that you've got. You're just going to rinse, lather, and repeat across all of these until you've got all of your actual like signature loans, car loans, student loans, whatever it is that you got to pay on month to month. It's a closed-end loan. All right. Now we're going to repeat the same process with your debts. Again, you can insert more rows if you need more rows here for your credit cards. Same sort of process though. Say on your American Express, it's due the 15th, Chase cards due on the 12th, and Cities the 25th. I don't know. Let's say the minimum payment is $100. Minimum payment's 25 and 25. Keep in mind you can delete these and put your own stuff in here. This is set up for your use. All right. So now, how much are we making in payments on it? Well, you may pay $100 on that one. You may pay $25 on that one, and you may pay $100 on that one because we're working on paying it off early. There you go. it's highlighted in red because it's over what you've got as your minimum budget for it. If you do plan on making a higher than minimum payment, go ahead and budget for that next month. That way, it's in your budget that I'm putting $100 towards your city card. Um, Same process over here. We'll say 5,000. We'll say 1,000, and then we'll say 100. Boom. There you go. All right. The cool thing here is it's going to let you track your subtotal of how much you're paying each month in monthly debts, in credit cards, and like your regular debts. That way you can keep up with what your progress is each month. Um, the other thing is each month it's going to auto calculate once you've paid your payment and you put in here what your new balances are. It's going to auto calculate at the month end how much debt you've got in total. So next month you're going to copy this whole spreadsheet over, and then you're going to start your month there. That way you can see your progress month to month. One thing that I found for me psychologically that helped a lot was for me to take and keep tabs on that so far. Still in this with you as far as the payoff things goes, but just kind of giving you some tips on what I've seen that's worked for me so far. On the savings front, whatever you started your month with, let me back up here. Let's say you got 190,000 that we started the month with in debt. On the savings front, let's say it was 10,000, and then after you paid all your bills, then maybe it's 11,000 at the end of the month. Boom, just go into the next month, copy the sheet over, and put your 11,000 for the starting on the next month. One thing I would recommend if you do have 10,000 in savings and you've got any of these sorts of credit card debts or anything like that, go ahead and pay the extra $1,000 towards that because you do have an emergency fund. My thoughts on the emergency fund, this is going to conflict with the whole Dave Ramsey thing, is I try to keep a 1 month buffer there in the emergency fund while I'm in like hyper debt payoff mode. I stayed really cash heavy for a good period of time. And what it got me was a lot of debt, and I still burned through the cash eventually. So now I've decided to keep 1 month of expenses there over and above whatever I'm accumulating this month. That way, I've got a 1 month runway while I'm working on paying all these other revolving accounts off. All right. Down here, these are your things that aren't debts, but they're things that keep you alive. For example, food. These are all probably going to be variable expenses too. Food, electric, gas, a lot of, all these sorts of things. One thing to note that you may want to be careful with as you're working on your monthly budget. I found this super challenging myself whenever I first got started. Is the fact that, like, for example, my family uses an American Express card to get the points. I will say that I can see where Dave Ramsey's coming from as far as it does put you in a position where if you're carrying a balance on that card, then you kind of really muddy the waters on what you're actually paying off. If you're the type of person that's disciplined enough to use a credit card to pay for your food and then turn around and pay the card off, sweet. Just remember that's what you're doing. Make sure at the end of the month, essentially, that the balance is going down and not up with your tracker here. So anyway, yeah, you're going to work the same exact way as you did up in these top two sections here to work on tracking how much do you have budgeted each month in each one of these categories. Feel free to add more if you need to. If not, then delete the rows that you don't need. Just try to make sure that you're calculating everything that you can. All that's going to add up into a spot where you've got your total income over here, then your total spent over here. It'll tell you how much money you've got left over at the end of the month. So anyway, this is your budgeted. That's how much you thought you were going to spend, and then it's got your actual right here. So let's just throw a crazy number in here for food. Let's say you went wild at Applebee's. I don't know. Yeah, so now it's got that you budgeted and had remaining because we didn't budget for food or anything, $8,500. Obviously not real, but you get the idea. Well, you actually spent more money than you earned. You actually spent $1,480. We went backwards. I did that so that I could see easily every month without too much effort, like, did I go up or did I go backwards? Since taking all of these little things and making these little tweaks, it's made a tremendous difference in how well we've been able to work in my household to pay things off. Hopefully it works for you too. If you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Hopefully this puts you in a position to better your financial position. And then If it's in the cards for you and the plans for you, then down the road we can help you get a mortgage.